Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now here's Jay.
That's right. Here's Jay. And welcome back to the second hour of the Educated Retirement. And I hope you enjoyed our little interview with Franco Bianchini. He's very, very interesting and a great friend, and speaks highly of the mortgage industry in general, reverse mortgages, and all that kind of good stuff. So we will start off this hour of the Educated Retirement here on KMET 1490 on your dial with NASA Nellie. As soon as her retro rockets tell us that she is, okay, we got a robot here delivering some coffee. We'll take that. And NASA Nellie, take it away. There we go.
Okay, the Webb telescope update. As of this morning, the Webb has less than 122,829 miles to go to its parking space in L2 orbit. Its hot side is 130 degrees Fahrenheit, not too bad, and its cold side is minus 328 degrees.
Oh,
that's cold. The primary mirror wings are now fully deployed and latched into place. When all of the individual gold line mirror segment deployments are completed, the detailed optical mirror alignment process will begin, which will take about 3 months. When that happens, the Webb will be looking back in time when galaxies were young. Okay, so who's on Mars? With all the fuss about the Webb telescope, we ask the question, well, who's on planet Mars today? We are not talking about extraterrestrials, really, but what countries are either still in orbit around the planet Mars or roaming its surface. There are 2 countries physically on the planet Mars. The United States Mars Perseverance rover and China's Towering Rover are both traveling the surface of the red planet. The United States' 5th rover, the Perseverance, is located in Jezero Crater, a rocky area with steep hills, and has been roaming that crater since February of last year. The goal of this mission is to seek signs of ancient life and collect samples of Martian rocks for possible return to Earth. The Mars Sample Return is a multi-mission campaign designed to retrieve the samples. Currently, the campaign involves multiple spacecraft launches and dozens of government agencies. The collection of these well-documented samples will eventually allow us to analyze them in the best laboratories here on Earth and will answer an open question. Has life taken root anywhere in the solar system besides Earth? One of the most important challenges is to keep the samples chemically pristine while subjecting their storage container to extreme sterilization measures to ensure nothing hazardous is delivered to Earth. We don't want to forget the first helicopter to fly the surface of Mars, named Ingenuity, nicknamed Ginny. On April 4th, 2021, Ingenuity became the first aircraft in history to make a power-controlled flight on another planet. As of December 15th, 2021, the helicopter has made 18 successful flights, totaling a whole 32 minutes and 51 seconds in flight time. That includes taking off, hovering, and landing. Now about the new kid in town. The Chinese rover, Towering, is roaming in Utopia Plantatia, a vast basin. Utopia Plantatia means nowhere land plain. It is the largest recognized basin on Mars. In its travels, Towering has visited features of interest and even investigating part of the capsule that brought it to the surface. It has provided data including temperature, pressure, wind speed, and information on the chemical composition of rocks, soil, and sand dunes. It has provided the landing process footage as well as sounds of the vehicle roving on the surface, including the sounds of winds on Mars. The Churang is the god of fire in ancient Chinese mythology. It is said fire brought warmth and brightness to the ancestors of mankind, and the rover signifies igniting the flame of China's planetary exploration. Well, who is in orbit? The United Arab Emirates craft named Hope has been in orbit around the red planet, sending images for almost a year. It studies the planet's weather and climate systems. Its first picture sent showed the North Pole and the largest volcano in the solar system, the Olympus Mons. The mission statement is, "We hope this mission will lead to new discoveries about Mars, which will benefit humanity." It plans to trace how energy moves through the atmosphere, as well as understanding precisely how a previously warm and wet planet became the cold, desiccated world it is today. The mission's duration is 2 years. The spacecraft was assembled in the U.S. at the University of Colorado. It was launched from the Tanegashima Space Center in Japan with a Japanese rocket. Another craft in orbit is India's Mangalyaan. It was launched in 2013, expected to only last about 6 months, but has passed that time and is still in orbit. It is still in good health and still sending data. India is planning a Mangalyaan 2 launch in the near future. They claim it will be after their upcoming moon mission, where they plan to land a rover on the lunar surface. It is expected to launch sometime this year. The mission was delayed due to COVID pandemic. So our sister planet has crafts orbiting and 2 rovers traveling its surface, and with the new Webb telescope, maybe we will find some very interesting facts about Mars, the solar system, and us.
Thank you so much, NASA Nellie. And if you were, goodbye. If you remember, or with us the first hour talking with Franco, he wasn't so sure about traveling to Mars right now, but I was saying that, I would have thought that by now we would be vacationing in hotels on Mars. That didn't happen. So hopefully in the future, things will speed up a bit on that front. So let's say
there's a little competition too.
Yeah, and there's competition too now, and and there's competition with not only between countries, but this country itself. Would you want to go on Elon Musk's first trip to Mars? That's a good question. At my age, maybe not, but whatever. But I don't think it's a one-way trip. I mean, you can build things. You'll probably be going with other equipment. Other equipment could be launched that you could put together for coming back, things like that. So in any case, there are a lot of people who have volunteered for that. So let's get back to our nostalgia period of time. And that would be famous people's birthdays. And number 1 is Lawrence Kasdan, who came into this world January 14th. That's pretty close to today, 1949, which compared to me makes him just a kid. Is that a picture? Mm-hmm. That's him in the front, right? Mm-hmm. See, I don't know. There he is. And who is that? That's Jeff Goldblum, I know, who plays piano, whose album I have. He's got several out, I think. And, we'll report more on whether he gets back to playing on Vermont Boulevard every Wednesday night like he used to before COVID. And he's in the center. But these other people...
George Lucas.
And, well, there's George Lucas, Lawrence Kasdan in the middle, and this guy's real familiar to me, but so be it.
The one on the right is Lawrence Kasdan. The one on the left, far left, I'm not sure.
Wait a minute.
Lawrence Kasdan is on the right, George Lucas in the middle, and the one on the left.
So you're saying Kasdan is this guy?
No,
this guy. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what we pointed to. Oh, okay. Okay. Anyway, who is Kasdan anyway? He's an American filmmaker. He's also the co-writer of such films as The Empire Strikes Back, the best in my opinion, of all the Star Wars films. Return of the Jedi, Raiders of the Lost Ark, incredible story, to name a few. He is the co-writer and director of films such as Body Heat, The Big Chill, Silverado, and Dreamcatcher. And Kasdan was born in Miami Beach, Florida. His mother was an employment counselor. I wonder if he'll find me a job. No. And father was an electronics store, and both parents were writers. Kasdan was 14 when his father died. His mother had studied with novelist Sinclair Lewis and sold a few stories to confessional magazines. And in the 50s, she would buy self-help books, and with the dream of writing her own book one day. Well, the success story definitely is there with her son. Kasdan said, "We didn't have a lot of money, and neither did anyone around us, and going to the movies was the happiest thing about my childhood. I wanted to live in the world I found in the movies." And of course, what was that film of Woody Allen where that happened? They came right out of the screen. Anyway, he particularly liked The Great Escape and Magnificent Seven. In 1963, his brother took him to see Lawrence of Arabia, and after they watched the film, Kasdan said that he found his new hero, not T.E. Lawrence, but David Lean, the director. When he graduated from high school, to earn money for college, he worked various jobs at a glass factory and night shift at a supermarket. He won the Hopwood Award, a college writing contest, 4 times. He said, "When I received the letter telling me that I had won both awards in both fiction and drama, my life had changed forever." Kasdan is a huge fan of director Akira Kurosawa, so I'm not sure when it said Magnificent Seven whether he was talking about Kurosawa's version. I'm going to take it for granted, probably so. His first the first script he ever wrote was The Bodyguard, a film starring Kevin Costner. Short list of films directed by Lawrence Kasdan. Body Heat. And, well, let's start off with this. We don't have, this is the first one on the top, Dreamcatcher. I liked this film. Most people didn't like it a great deal. Not bad, though. Body Heat was directed and written by Kasdan, music by John Barry, starring William Hurt, Kathleen Turner, and Richard Crenna. Whoa, there we go. There's a picture. Now, I thought this was great, and you probably did too. And this is a real example of modern day film noir, and of the modern ones, most of which are in color. Let's not forget Blade Runner, Chinatown, some others which I'm not remembering right now, and the new Guillermo del Toro's Nightmare Alley, which is a film noir, and it's going to come out in black and white and color, so I can't wait to see both. And this is actually the third time, or the second remake of that story. Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981, and of course we've shown this before. And yeah, there it is. And that was directed by Steven Spielberg. Kasdan screenplay, his first job hired as a writer. Remember that other one, Bodyguard, he sold. And that starred Harrison Ford, Karen Allen, film nominated for 9 Oscars and won 4, as well as a Special Achievement Award. I remember being blown away by that movie. We had seen one movie, my son and I, we went and we paid admission to see one movie, and when it was over, we illegally walked over to another one to watch the first, actually 5 or 10 minutes of Indiana Jones, and just blown away. But then, we left and came back again to see it. The Big Chill, 1983, starred Glenn Close, Jeff Goldblum, still playing the piano, William Hurt, great actor, Kevin Kline, film nominated for 3 Academy Awards. Now this is the soundtrack, which it took a bunch of music from that time, the band, the Four Tops, Percy Sledge, Steve Miller Band, Creedence Clearwater Revival. I don't know. I kind of liked it. It wasn't my thing, but Silverado. Now that was my thing. I bet we've watched that 50 times, and not for a while though. But really did love that movie. Still do, and that starred Kevin Costner, Kevin Kline, Scott Glenn, Danny Glover. Film nominated for 2 Oscars. The Accidental Tourist was 1988 and starred William Hurt, Kathleen Turner again, and Gina Davis. And that film was nominated for 4 Oscars, including Best Picture, and won 1 for Best Actress for Davis. And let's see.
Look at how beat up that is. We've watched it.
Look how beat up this. And this is a Laserdisc, which we haven't played in years. A Laserdisc, but it's pretty well beat up. But yeah, this is my favorite. Now is this? Yeah, this is number 2, right? Mm-hmm. This is my favorite. Lawrence Kasdan. No, it's not, Kathleen.
He helped write it.
Yeah, but this is not the second one. That was the
oh, you're
the
right.
Empire
Strikes Back. Sorry.
That's the one that I really do like, and I think is way ahead of the others.
Yeah.
And there's talk now that Disney is thinking of bringing Lawrence Kasdan back to try to bolster up the upcoming or the future Star Wars franchise movies. Here's to Star Wars. But but just after seeing and reminding myself of Dune, which came out first, so much of Star Wars culture comes from Dune, but so be it. How about Lloyd Bridges? Lloyd Bridges. He was born tomorrow, the 15th, in 1913, and left us in 1998. And that would be Lloyd Vernet Bridges, Jr. He was an American film, stage, and television actor who starred in a number of TV series and more than 150 feature films. 2 of his children are actors, Jeff Bridges and Beau Bridges. Bridges was born in San Leandro, California. His father was involved in the California hotel business and once owned a movie theater. Lloyd studied political science at UCLA and made his Broadway debut in 1937 and appeared on stage in a few productions. In 1940, he joined a stock company at Columbia Pictures, earning $75 a week, where he played small roles in features and short subjects. Do we have any picture at all? That's pretty small, but this is, we'll get to that, where that came from.
Westerns. Yeah, you did a lot of Westerns.
Not sure whether this shows up or not, but I guess it did. And this is him as a much younger adult. And that's a pretty good picture of him. And what do we have there? Oh, we might as well show this too. Of course, you'll remember these kind of scenes from Sea Hunt. It was. I remember when I was doing a lot of scuba diving and got my certification, they were getting into the 1 hose regulators, but I wanted the 2 hose regulators because I wanted to look like he did in Sea Hunt. But Bridges said, I didn't have enough maturity for a leading man. I looked too much like a kid. All the best roles went to Glenn Ford, William Holden. They just put me in these B pictures. I even did a Three Stooges short. Sometimes I'd be in 2 or 3 movies a week with, small parts, but he was making $75. Bridges was blacklisted briefly in the 50s after he admitted to the House Un-American Activities Committee, a very dark period of time in our history, that he had once been a member of the Actors Laboratory Theater. The Actors Laboratory Theater was called the Actors Lab and was originally above Sharky's Bar in Hollywood. Wonder if that's any relation to the string of Mexican restaurants called Sharky's. Probably not. During the Second World War, it made multiple performances for servicemen in association with the Hollywood Victory Committee. So sounds like they were pretty patriotic, but it was later denounced as a communist organization and lost its sources of financial support, leading to its demise. And other members included Lee J. Cobb, Hume Crone, Marilyn Monroe, and Audie Murphy. So you want to call Audie Murphy a communist? I guess go ahead. Bridges returned to acting after recanting his membership and achieved his greatest success in television. He also starred in over 150 films and several television series. So here's a short list of film and television that starred Lloyd Bridges. 16 Fathoms, which I don't remember at all. Actually, it was called 16 Fathoms Deep. 1948, directed by Irving Allen. Well, we know that name. Starred Lon Chaney Jr. We know him too. Rocket Ship XM. Now, this is a real standout. This was a great film, early science fiction. Music by Albert Glasser, which I think I've shown you. We've got several albums of him. He did a lot of other soundtracks. This particular soundtrack was done by Freddie Grofe, whose name I didn't pronounce right, but that's okay. And this one did not have the normal happy ending, so wasn't exactly film noir, but still, it was a standout, and it was definitely different. So, and Grofe did, of course, Grand Canyon Suite. There we go, which we have about 25 copies of. This is a pretty nice one, Walt Disney Presents, and it's got lots of pictures, which I won't go through. Well, we'll go through a couple of them. What's that?
Primeval World.
Primeval World. Now this is before Primeval World
but some of it
in the
is
Grand
used.
Canyon. But he wrote that, a few other things, but he's well known mostly for that. And this Rocket Ship XM was 1950, directed by Kurt Newman, starred Hugh O'Brien, Morris Ankrum, and the score, like I said, was from Freddie Grofe. And this was the first time a theremin, electric musical instrument, was used in a science fiction movies. And, well, let me just show you. Here's a laser disc on the sound he created was strange. His life was even stranger. This was about the creation of the theremin, and a pretty fascinating documentary this was. And just to let you know, some other movies that were used, that the theremin were used in, was Lost Weekend, Spellbound, The Thing from Another World, The Day the Earth Stood Still, Forbidden Planet, Ed Wood, Batman Forever, 1995 with Val Kilmer, Mars Attacks, and The Machinist, which is a great film, but we won't get into that right now. Anyway, hey, I didn't even know we had a picture disc. We've got several other discs, but this is the only picture disc of this particular music.
Record.
Yeah, record music. Here's Mars Attacks. which was, one of, I think still one of, um, one of Tim Burton's best. And of course, Jack Nicholson was really great in that too. Uh, the Day the Earth Stood, boy, these are heavy. The Day the Earth Stood Still. Let's see. Oh, there's one of each. These mover, yeah. So say hello. And what's the saying? Ektu Barata something or other. What's the last word?
Nikto.
V?
No,
Nikto.
Nikto.
All right. Well, so be it. You probably know already. Grab that for me, would you please? The Day the Earth Stood Still. Everybody thinks is maybe the best science fiction film around. I personally don't. I think it's very good, but I've got better, to me, more favorites than this. Anyway.
That's just mentioned.
Yeah, promotional material sent to exhibitors for rocket ship HECM carried the disclosure. This is not Destination Moon. But if you want to see what Destination Moon looks like, there it is. What did I pick up by mistake? Anyway, this was a lot of fun. This is a completely different type of film. And this, we're going back there. Let's go backwards in time. This was Around the World Under the Sea. Boy, this is pretty small. This goes to back to
60s, I think.
What?
Back to the 60s.
Yeah, I know, but the guy we just talked about.
Oh, Lloyd Bridges.
Yeah, Lloyd. Oh, you can kind of see that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can you?
Here's another Lloyd Bridges one we skipped. And this was with his son also. But we didn't really skip. We're still talking about him. Thrill a minute, it says. Jeffrey Lyons, sneak preview. Anyway. High Noon, he was in, directed by Fred Zinnemann. Starred Gary Cooper, Grace Kelly. Film nominated for 7 Oscars and won 4. Around the World Under the Sea, which I just showed you a little picture poster of. And that also starred Keenan Wynn, Marshall Thompson, David McCollum, and Blown Away, which I just showed you the Laserdisc of. Director Stephen Hopkins, and starred Tommy Lee Jones and Jeff Bridges. And they played father and son in the film as well. Sea Hunt, 1958 to 1961. It seems to me like it lasted a lot longer than that, but Bridges portrays a freelance scuba diver is often called on for difficult or dangerous projects, from retrieving a bicycle to a nuclear missile to rescuing children trapped in a flooded cave. The Lloyd Bridges Show, 1962 to 63, television series with notable guests such as John Cassavetes, Carolyn Jones, Ricardo Montalban, Werner Lemperer, Lee Merriweather, and Gina Rowlands, who we've talked about somewhat before. Now, how about some honorable mentions? Cecil Beaton joined us on this day in 1904 and left us in 1980. And Sir Cecil Walter Hardy Beaton was a British fashion, portrait, and war photographer, as well as an Oscar winner. He won an Oscar for Best Costume Design and Best Production Design for the film My Fair Lady, as well as an Oscar for Best Costume Design for Gigi. Some of the personalities that he photographed were Marilyn Monroe, Audrey Hepburn, Katharine Hepburn, Elizabeth Taylor, Marlon Brando, Yul Brynner, and Greta Garbo, as well as artists Andy Warhol and Georgia O'Keeffe, just to mention a few. This is what he looked like if you're watching. And one good thing about when I show these pictures, it usually covers my face. So if you're watching, at least you get a little break on that. So just to show you, we've got a series of these. Anyway, you can read it. But this was the slip cover. Let me get it back far enough so maybe we can see it. And this is a beautiful little, it's kind of presented like a portfolio with several of the pictures that he has done with little tissue paper between each one. So I really don't want to pull it all apart, but there's one picture of his. And let me take a quick look. I don't think we should, unless you want to pull one out and show it on the thing. And then we'll get on with someone else here.
This is Marlon Brando right here.
Here comes the Marlon Brando print. Good picture of, just try not to get my mitts all over it. But I don't know how many come in that portfolio, but there's quite a few, and they're all really nice. So who else? And these are not secondary people that we have on the on the honorable mentions. It's just in many cases there's not quite as much to say, or we've already talked about them before. But Hal Roach joined us on this day in 1892 and left us in 1992. Wow, 100 years old then, huh? Well, there you go. Harry Eugene Roach Jr. was an American film and television producer, director, and studio executive, and the founder of Hal Roach Studios. Roach was active in the industry from the 1910s to the 1990s, and is best remembered for Laurel and Hardy, for the Laurel and Hardy franchise, Our Gang film comedy series, and here he is, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, I have a hat like that. I could have shown that in the hat day, but that's okay. We're showing at least Hal Roach as that. And here he is with Laurel and Hardy. And I always liked Laurel and Hardy. Three Stooges, not so much, things like that now. But the, Abbott and Costello, they had talent, but it wasn't my kind of thing. These guys, they were pretty good. I thought they were really good. Especially, I like that one with the piano and the staircase in the Silver Lake Echo Park district. And we actually sought that staircase out. And I weighed about 300 pounds at the time, so I did not want to climb those steps. So we didn't. But at least we saw it. And Jack Jones was born on this day in 1938. John Allen Jones, an American singer and actor. And he's widely known for recording Lollipops and Roses, The Impossible Dream, Call Me Irresponsible, as well as the Love Boat theme. Which reminds me, the captain from Love Boat just passed away this week. And I remember meeting him at Al's Delicatessen on Ventura Boulevard many years ago. Wow. And I'm sure he was having a bagel. But anyway, he meaning Jack Jones, continues to perform concerts around the world and remains popular in Las Vegas. So what do we have here? There's just I think I've got some in the library there, some Jack Jones albums, but, you know, looking for things sometimes, it's going to take a little bit more of my organization to get that library where I can actually find whatever. Now, Night at the Opera, speaking of comedy acts, the Marx Brothers were great, and Jack Jones' father Alan Jones was a member of the cast and did some singing here, along with who else was in here? Well, the Marx Brothers, of course, and who was the female singer? I can see her in my face right now, but I can't think of it. We'll see if I'll have NASA Nellie from outer space look it up, and then we'll go from there. Faye Dunaway was born January 14th, 1941, so she's even older than I am. I didn't know there was such a thing. It didn't say it right there, Kathleen. So
okay.
You're going to have to look on your space telephone. Dorothy Faye Dunaway is an American actress. Her career began in the 1960s and rose to fame with her portrayal of gangster Bonnie Parker in the film Bonnie and Clyde, with Warren Beatty playing Clyde. Dunaway starred in close to 60 films, and here's a short list. Bonnie and Clyde. What's that one there? Oh, actually, this one's not on the list, but there she is in Albino Alligator, a film by Kevin Spacey, with Faye Dunaway, Gary Sinise, and Matt Dillon. Matt Dillon, though, I did see but didn't meet. I saw him dancing at a place called SOB, Sounds of Brazil, on Varick and Broadway, or Varick turns into Broadway in the lower part of Manhattan. Anyway, there you go. I just try to build myself up by making me interesting, but, it takes more than that, doesn't it? So, Bonnie and Clyde, 1967, directed by Arthur Penn, starring Gene Hackman, was also in there. And one of those that I mentioned as a modern film noir and a classic, Chinatown, 1974. Here is music from Chinatown, which is just absolutely wonderful. And that music was done by, right on the tip of my tongue, Jerry Goldsmith. And what a great theme there is. It's one of the two great film noir modern themes. I don't know, modern. The other one would probably be Taxi Driver with Bernard Herrmann, which is, oh, you know what? I just brought that record out. Taxi Driver. It's in there. But anyway, there's an old laser disc with some pictures. But again, showing laser. I love that picture of him on there. That is very film noirish. And really can't wait to see the Guillermo del Toro remake of Nightmare Alley. But anyway, Chinatown was directed by, of course, Roman Polanski. Jerry Goldsmith did the music, starred Jack Nicholson, and John Huston himself was also in it. The Towering Inferno, 1972, was directed by John Gillerman and starred Steve McQueen, Paul Newman, William Holden, Richard Chamberlain, who again gave me a 50-cent tip when I was a waiter in downtown in Beverly Hills. But I don't want to talk about that too much. Just every time his name comes up, and Robert Vaughn. Network, which we got, but I instead couldn't find it. So there we go. Made a copy of, and there's some of the other people in it. Still, that's what I thought. Still mad as hell. There you go. A really outstanding film. Here's showing her in that film. See that? Or that there? That there's a great jazz standard. I think Bobby Timmons. I'll have to check on that. Great music. Anyway, there you go on that one. And Network was directed by Stanley Lumet, a great actor. It starred William Holden, Peter Finch, Robert Duvall. The film nominated for 10 Oscars and won 4, including Oscar for Best Actress for Dunaway. I don't know why it didn't win Best Movie, but I don't know what did that year.
I'd have to
So
look.
that's all right. We can ask NASA Nellie because she's in outer space, and you know, anybody in outer space has a wider knowledge of what's going on in this atmosphere. What happened this day in history? Okay. The Flying Saucer, a movie, was released January 4th, 1950. A horrible movie, in my opinion. And I looked for it. We were going to watch. We're thinking of maybe putting it on in the background. Let's look at the
Great
color
posters.
one. Yeah, great poster. And it has a lot of, shows a lot of women screaming. It's on Amazon. I think it was $1.98 to rent, but I didn't. I figured it was. It wasn't. It wasn't worth $1.98. But streaking out of the unknown comes a strange new terror, as it says right there, the flying saucer. So this was 1950. So that was pretty close to the beginning of the UFO craze. And who's that? It's nothing. Oh, yeah. So this film is the first to deal with the new and hot topic of flying saucers, or alien craft in the shape of saucers, that were first identified in 1947 by Kenneth Arnold, although I'm sure people have identified those things back in the dark ages. And another film that came out, this one, though, is really good. Bad Day at Black Rock was released on this, close to now. 1955, directed by John Sturges, starred Spencer Tracy, Robert Ryan, Anne Francis, Walter Brennan, Lee Marvin, and Ernest Borgnine. It is a mixture of a Western and film noir. That's true. I didn't. Bad Day at Black Rock. We've seen this movie, I don't know, 50 times, 35 times. It's very interesting to watch, too. There's some things in it, like they filmed part of it outside of Lone Pine, and there is a railroad track out there that hadn't been used in 100 years. Well, that's an exaggeration. But they cleaned it up and ran this one train into there. It was the Southern Pacific Black Widow engines, for those of you that know about those things. They only did it once. In 1945, a one-armed man, Spencer Tracy, gets off a train at the isolated desert town, and residents immediately appear suspicious, as this is the first time in 4 years that the train has stopped there. That's the first time ever. He is looking for a man, and the locals become hostile. And let me do one. This is him on the set. And you can see the filmmakers on this side and the filming that's being shot on this side. Kind of an interesting picture, I think. And anyway, it was taken after a short story called Bad Day at Honda. And since John Wayne recently made a film called Honda, the producers decided to change the name to Black Rock after coming upon a post office and gas station in Arizona with that same name. One thing about the film that was interesting that we learned with the audio commentary is that Sturges has no extras in the background. There's nobody walking past windows. There's nobody in that town except the protagonist and the people he is directly involved with. And that was kind of an experiment. And he was right. Nobody noticed. Nobody cared. And, that's what makes a great producer. So producer Dory Sherry wanted Spencer Tracy for the lead role, but feared he wouldn't accept. So he changed the character as being a one-armed man and said that no actor would refuse the part of a handicapped figure. And Tracy accepted the part. The film was nominated for 3 Oscars, 1 for Best Actor for Tracy himself, and 1 for Best Director. So there. And here's a picture of the two of them, probably between scenes being shot. And love this movie, really do.
And Francis, who is also in Forbidden Planet.
And Anne Francis, of course, from Forbidden Planet. And, of course, anyway, I think she had a TV show, too, didn't she? As some kind of a undercover agent or something. But we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah.
Also, for the fun of it, there was a film called Big Trains Rolling, released 1955. And the only reason I know about that is because I'm a foamer or a train freak. And this film is a production of the Association of American Railroads, outlining the wonders of America's rail system. It's said that it's viewed as a time capsule of the 1950s railroading, postcard-like presentations of the United States with the narration by actor Art Gilmore. Now, let me show you here. This is Ultimate Railroad Collection, and here is Big Trains Rolling, amongst other things. But there you go. And this is the last one in there. And Big Trains Rolling is right here. There's a, never saw this poster before, but there it is. And here's another one I haven't seen before, but this one's really cool too. It's a really fun film to watch. It's not that long, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. It's a lot of fun to watch. And Art, the narrator, Art Gilmore, was an actor and radio announcer. Art Gilmore supplied his voice as narrator or radio announcer for such films as The Creature from the Black Lagoon, Rear Window, wow, King of the Rocket Men, which I think is a serial, correct? Oh yeah, here we go. Now, if you want to see these are on Laserdisc, but just about all of these are free on YouTube. And they'll usually go from one to another, so you can put it on, go to sleep, whatever. I love these things. And some actors that you've heard or haven't heard of got their start doing this kind of thing. And The Killing, and Rodan even. And of course, Rodan would have been the English version. I don't know, is this the English version? Don't know. We've got them both. So there you go. And let's see who's in the cast. No, nope, this is not the English version. This is the Japanese version. But that's so he probably wouldn't be in this one, but that's okay. And we talked about Rodan last week concerning oh yeah, the Mandel UFO crash.
Yes.
That this director, producer, inspired
writer for that story.
Inspired Rodan. So you see how the UFO stories are so important in our culture. So there. Now, we've got just a couple of minutes left, not too many. So we're going to bring in NASA Nellie with a few tidbits. Take it away, NASA Nellie.
Did you hear about the first restaurant on the moon?
No, I did not hear.
It had great food, but no atmosphere.
Okay, next.
What did the tie say to the hat?
Oh, you mean like a necktie? Say to the hat? Well, it was hat day, so I don't know.
You go on ahead and I'll hang around.
Oh, man. Is that funky or what? Hit us with another one if you can.
What did one elevator say to the other?
What did one elevator say to the other? See you on the way down or something like that?
I think I'm coming down with something.
Oh, God. So many people are coming down with just flu these days. Anyway, go ahead.
Here's a good one. What do you call a cow with a twitch?
What do you call a cow with a twitch? Twitchy cow. I don't know.
Beef jerky.
Oh my God, that's a good beef jerky. Say it again. Let me hear that again.
What do you call a cow with a twitch?
A cow with a twitch is beef jerky. Wow. I like that one. Go ahead, lay another one.
Working in a mirror factory is something I can totally see myself doing.
Okay. One more.
Did you hear about the first? Oh, no, I already said that. What does a house wear?
What does a house wear? I don't know.
A dress.
God. Say it one more time.
What does a house wear?
A dress. Oh, that is good.
Yeah.
And with that, we will remind everyone that Jay will be on the same corner in front of the cigar store next week. And in the meantime, I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Franco Bancini for being a great guest, and the rest of everyone who's listening. Sean, of course, our irreplaceable engineer, and all of you listeners and or watchers. Really, really appreciate you all. And please stay safe, and have a great, wonderful week, and make it a productive one. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.